All right, we welcome back everybody that's watching us streaming at TopRank.com. I'm the Colonel Bob Sheridan, along with Rich Marotta and Christina Poncher. Glad that you can be with us. This is Steve Claggett, who comes to us from Calgary, Canada. He's got 20 victories, 2 losses, 1 draw, 19 KOs. Or rather 14 KOs. You take a look at him. He's a very good fighter. Turned pro in September of 2009 up in Alberta. He went 12 pro fights without a loss. You take a look at the tail of the tape and you see that Ponomarev from Russia is going to be taller. He's same weight. The age is a little bit younger. And Ponomarev has a 3-inch advantage in reach. And here's Ponomarev decked out in the red, blue, and silver. Ponomarev comes to us. He turned pro in April of 2010 with a win over Bobby Nurmatov in St. Petersburg, Russia, and has won 26 straight pro fights. This is his 4th fight in the United States. We saw him, Rich, you might remember, in a knockout over Joseph De Los Santos in Omaha in June. Since then, he has 2 more wins. He's a good fighter.
Right, he's a good fighter, but I still think he needs to develop his. I think his defense is a little loose, judging from what I saw of him, and I would say he's not the finished product yet. Although his record is outstanding, you can't argue with that. And
he's working with a Hall of Fame trainer named Jesse Reed Sr., who had Roger Mayweather many years ago, and has got his son Jesse Reed Jr. working with him. He is a work in progress, but 26-0 is pretty darn good. Well, we'll see how it goes. We're set to get this one underway. So here's Lupe Contreras. Lupe?
Ladies and gentlemen, we continue with the next bout of the evening, scheduled for a limit of 8 rounds in the welterweight division. And once again, proudly presented to you by Bob Arum's Top Rank Incorporated, in association with La Cerveza Tecate con Carácter, Horticia Vodka, and being broadcast worldwide on TopRank.com. The 3 judges are Robert Hoyle, Gene McAvoy, and Levi Martinez. The 3rd man in the ring, referee Curtis Thrasher. Introducing the blue corner. He enters the ring wearing red with white trim. He weighed in at an official 147.5 pounds. In 23 pro bouts, he has a record of 20 victories against only 2 losses, 1 bout even, and 14 of those victories coming by way of KO. The reigning Canadian welterweight champion from Calgary, Canada, Steve the Dragon Claggett. Across the ring in the red corner, wearing blue and red with silver trim, he weighed in at an identical 147.5 pounds. And he enters the ring, an undefeated pro with 26 victories, 13 of those victories coming by way of KO. From Minsk, Russia, Konstantin Ponomarev.
Jesse Reed calls Konstantin Costa, so
Okay,
we'll call him Costa.
Received your instructions earlier in the dressing room. I expect you to obey my commands at all times, protect yourself at all times. Anything below here is low, anything below here is low. Touch gloves now, gentlemen. Good luck.
Very good referee Curtis Thrasher from Denver, working in the ring with Ponomarev and Claggett. Claggett trains, by the way, in the high altitude in the Canadian Rockies, so he's not having any fear of the 26-0 record of Ponomarev, that he won't be in shape for this fight in any which way. He had a loss in March of 2011. He was stopped in 8 rounds by Romero Jaco Salam in the Philippines. Here we go. In the red and white trunks is Steve Claggett. Costa Ponomarev is decked out in the red, white, and blue with the white shoes to the right of your screen and the taller guy.
I think one thing that will tell these fighters apart is who will be able to better establish his jab. In watching several of the fights of both of these guys, they each have a very good jab. And so I think they're each going to try to see if they can out-jab one another.
Well, Claggett like to work from the inside as much as he can with this guy who has a longer jab by 3 inches. One thing about Ponomarev that I've noticed in his fights is that he has a very wide stance, sometimes with his jab. Other times he has the legs set up so he can drive off the back leg and get a lot more power. Jesse Reed told me he'd like to, really get him to sitting down and developing more power, and he's doing that all the time. Claggett trying to move the head a little bit, coming in, trying to work inside, but right now Ponomarev is landing more blows.
One thing I don't like about Claggett, only 2 fights last year. Fighter at his age, still developing, trying to climb the ladder, should be fighting more than twice a year.
Most of his fights up in Canada. But this is a test of really international dimensions for him, and that this kid's from Russia and had a lot of amateur experience as well, and 26 professional fights without a loss.
Ponomarev is starting well in this fight. I think that you see that he'll sometimes spread his arms open quite severely, really, and he's open for punches. It looks like to me. He holds his left hand very low. He's open for right hand counters. But right now he's keeping Claggett so busy defending himself that Claggett hasn't been able to get off anything.
Ponomarev is landing some good blows, too. He uses that elbow to set him up. Referee Curtis Thrasher won't allow that to go on too often. Uses that hand out there to hold him off. And you notice Claggett continues to come inside, but he's taking punishment. Referee Thrasher says keep the punches up. There's another borderline shot.
Well, Ponomarev is busy.
Yeah, he is, and then he's switching now to fighting as a southpaw, and that opens up for Claggett.
But there's no reason for him to do that right now. He had things very much going his way in the first couple of minutes.
Well, you've heard me say several times about guys that are right-handed fighters that switch to southpaw for some unknown reason, that they lose power, they lose accuracy, and they get hit more. And that happened for about 30 seconds, and he switched back to fighting orthodox right now, is Ponomarev. Ponomarev showing some hand speed, kind of speed bagging in the upper gloves and in the head of Claggett. Yeah, and you hear Jesse Reed saying drive off that back leg to get some power. It's a very good round for Ponomarev in the first round here against a tough kid named Steve Claggett from Calgary, Alberta.
Well, that's one of the best rounds I've seen him fight.
Good action-packed round, even though Ponomarev took command of it. There's Jesse and his son
Inside, get your hands up because he's coming with that left hook. Okay? And don't lay on the ropes. Keep moving on. Feel good? All right.
We're just getting fucking started. We're just getting started. I'm telling you, the fucking jabs there, the straights to the body. Okay? That's it. Good? Yep. 6 is the only thing he's looking for. Take it away with a fucking left hook.
Claggett in his last 10 fights is 9-1. He lost one split decision to in March of 2013. He's won his last 5 fights in a row, 4 by knockout.
I love this kind of matchmaking amongst young fighters. A 26-0 fighter against a kid 20-2 and a building record himself and on a hot streak as well. But Claggett's going to have to do better. He's going to have to get a little busier, and he comes out right away to try to establish his own jab again there, Colonel.
This is round 2. It's scheduled for 8 rounds with Colonel Bob Sheridan here with Rich Marotta, and you'll be hearing from Christina Ponce throughout the course of our telecast. Our principal's in there, Steve Claggett, in the red with the actually silver trim. It looks white on your screen. And with the multicolored red, white, and blue trunks, Konstantin Ponomarev. They call him Costa, like Konstantin Zoo.
Well, I still think Costa holds that left hand of his down too low. Jesse Reed was warning him about it in the between rounds.
He's slick, though. You notice the way he, got his left hand out there, and then he was trying to get off the ropes, and he whacked him with the right hand, and then stepped around him. That's slick boxing.
Claggett is getting into the fight in this round, though, by at least trying to smother Ponomarev if he can.
Well, he's got to fight him in here, because if he tries to box him on the outside, Ponomarev is going to hot shot him all night long, because he has that, 3.5 or 3 inches in reach, and he knows how to use it because he tips forward with that left elbow pretty good. Jesse trying to get him to sit down and punch and bend his legs a little bit more, but he's got nice movement.
Boy, does he ever. He really gets around that ring well.
Kind of taunting Claggett right now. He blasts to the body, hooks upstairs. A little frustrating for Steve Claggett at this stage.
The Russian and Ukrainian fighters are lining themselves up, as you know, with really great trainers from here in America. We saw Robert Garcia in our last fight with Vozdik, and now we see Costa here lined up with Jesse Reed,
who's a Hall of Fame corner man. Lived in Las Vegas for a long period of time, living in California now. Body shot solid. 45 seconds to go, and this is the second round in the scheduled 10-round affair, and not too much offense so far for Steve Claggett. A very, very nice kid. He's having a lot of problems with this kid, Ponomarev, tonight.
He's seeing if he can't rough up Kostya a little bit. He's having a little more success getting in close.
Well, he's popped him with that jab pretty good. Caught him with a right hand, a solid right hand.
See, I don't know if Ponomarev can continue this kind of movement that he's shown through the first 2 rounds through the distance.
Well, he's backfighting as a southpaw, so he's getting hit more now. He's got a bloody nose, as a matter of fact. He doesn't have the same power, and Cлагgett's able to pick off his punches when he fights as a southpaw.
Much more competitive round.
But still, Ponomarev got the round because the first minute and a half he controlled it.
All right, leg out. Don't stop. Punch with quick punches and then move, all right? Give him a little water, Jeff.
All right, that protector's riding up, okay?
You got the name.
Right, in the second round, Claggett started getting himself into the fight here. He managed to cut down the distance. He committed to an inside fight here and did some very good work inside. Punching to the body and to the head. And even though he still got hit a lot, he did manage to get some good blows home. And there's his best punch of the fight, that overhand right. He had been concentrating so much of the action downstairs that Ponomarev was not ready for that overhand right.
And all that movement, Rich, too, Ponomarev had the head hanging.
All right, here we go. Seconds out.
Eric de Guzman works with Claggett. Here we go, coming up to round number 3. Our third man in the ring is Kurdish Thrasher. Here we go. Claggett in the red trunks with the silver trim, and in the 3-colored trunks, blue, red, and silver, is Costa Ponomarev. Ponomarev has won the first couple of rounds of this fight, but Claggett trying to crawl back into this thing by smothering the punches and working on the inside. This is where Ponomarev wants to fight, the fight out here with plenty of movement. Pick his shots, and it's working well for him.
Yeah, but when Claggett cuts that distance, Colonel, he has a much better chance. And I don't know that Ponomarev can move like this for the full distance.
We'll find out. Because this is where Claggett loves to fight. He loves to throw the hooks. And there he is back as a southpaw again. Now watch him get hit. Missed his first shot that he threw with the left hand. Slides back around and fighting right-handed again. He gets flipped again. Ponomarev with his back to you now. As I say that, Claggett swings around. He's the guy with all the tattoos. Nice head movement. Loaded up that left hand, and that's what he loves to throw, that left hook, but he hasn't been able to land a big flush one.
Punches up.
A couple of uppercuts.
You know, it's interesting because when you watch Claggett on tape and you see a lot of his fights that he's had, most of them in Canada, he usually fights at long range, and he's jabbing. He jabs a lot. He has a fine jab. But when he's faced a guy here tonight, he is adjusting. He knows he can't out-jab Ponomarev. That became evident early. So he's had to adjust his style into a close distance fight, close range fight here tonight.
In between all those punches that Ponomarev was in the process of throwing, there's a really hellacious left hook landed by Claggett. He was able to gobble it up. Here he is back southpaw again. Now he's squared up. He misses so much more when he's caught in the middle of whether he wants to be a southpaw or right-handed fighter. Missed that right hand. Got one to the body with the left. This is where Claggett wants to fight. And Ponomarev does a nice job coming off the ropes that time against Claggett.
Looks to me like Claggett might be a little more heavy-handed.
25 seconds to go in round 3.
Ponomarev's going to have to out-hustle Claggett tonight.
Claggett keeps coming forward. He has no fear of this guy. Catches up with him again in the southpaw stance. He nails him with the right hand, and that's what he wants to do. And again, just for an accumulation of punches, you got to give it to Ponomarev. But, you know, Cлагgett's in it in the last 2 rounds very well.
Introducing TopRank.com, an all-new way to provide fans with the ultimate in boxing entertainment. Watch live events, get breaking news, and chat with fighters, fans, and boxing personalities. Download our free iOS app, Top Rank TV, or enjoy TopRank.com on your mobile device or tablet. TopRank.com is available any place, on any device. Exclusive, interactive, accessible. TopRank.com. This is boxing.
Welcome back to the First Bank Center in Broomfield, Colorado. Our main event tonight, of course, is the big one that will be coming up in a little while between Mike Alvarado and Brandon Rios, the third in the trilogy. Each man has won a fight, and we look forward to really an action-packed series of fights before this thing is all over. And, of course, that one will be action-packed from the get-go. They both need the win. Here we moved to round number 4 in a Schedule 8 round in the super welterweight division. That's 154-pound division. Two men came in at just over welterweight at 147.5 each. Konstantin Ponomarev is in the red trunks with the blue and white trim with his back to you, and Steve Claggett from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, in the red trunks now with his back to you and all the tattoos on his back.
Ponomarev got a lot of great work last year in terms of gym work, sparring with the likes of Ruslan Provodnikov in Hollywood, and he was able to go to the Philippines, part of the Manny Pacquiao camp. Can't argue with that kind of preparation.
No, that's great preparation. He loads up, he comes off the ropes and unloads the right hand. I like him a lot better when he's fighting as an orthodox fighter. Coming forward all the time is Steve Claggett. Ponomarev makes him pay with that uppercut. Tough when you're giving away both height and reach. 2 inches in height and 3 inches in reach. Ponomarev's advantage over Steve Claggett.
Claggett made the adjustment after one round. Not to the point where he's been able to win rounds, I don't think, in 2 or 3. But he did make an adjustment to a more effective style for himself after it was clear he was going to be outboxed and outsped from long range by Ponomarev in round 1.
You know, he's been working on his power in the gym. He told me, I rode out in the car with him from the airport and got a chance to spend some time with Claggett, and he told me those are the types of things he's working on. And, you know, he loves the hook. He loves to double the hook, but, you know, going up against this difference in size has been a bit of a problem for him in that he hasn't won any rounds unofficially. Christina Ponch is with us. And Christina, I know that you love to watch these fights. What's your take on this one?
Yeah, some good welterweight action. We'll see, you know, more of it in our main event tonight. These two guys, obviously that's a loaded division, and these two guys would love to be up there with those big names one day. But I like the way they're working, high activity, which is what keeps things interesting over there, boxing and moving, like you said, working off that jab. I know you're not a big fan when these guys switch to southpaw, Colonel. He did get hit a lot more, like you said, but some good action so far. I'm liking what I see.
All right, this is the view from the distaff side. Christina, who interviews these fighters and visits with them in their camps. Top rank.
Wow.
Nice shot that time landed by Claggett.
That was after he took about 10 shots from Ponomarev, who was working him like the speed bag.
Got to be frustrating at this stage for Claggett because he's working real hard in there. And I use the term he's going to the well a lot, but not bringing back a lot of water. Another round for Konstantin Ponomarev. I haven't scored a shutout so far. Ponomarev 40 and Claggett 36.
Claggett looks a little worried in his corner to me. A little concerned.
Don't go near him when you can.
All right, we take a look. You see how the action has changed to being an in-close fight. And what Ponomarev did there was to push him off so he could get a little bit of distance to throw his punches. And that's probably a smart idea from his standpoint. Now, this is what we talked to you. It looked like he was working a little peanut bag. Look, back, left, right, left, right, left, right. And then Claggett came back, and he tried scoring with some big shots as well. So Claggett always answers back, but the volume of punches certainly is in Ponomarev's favorite.
See, squared up there, just give him the old speed bag treatment. All right, we get ready to move to round number 5. The Colonel, along with Rich Murata and Christina Poncha, Glad that you can be with us here at the First Bank Center in Broomfield, Colorado, just outside Denver. Beautiful day here in Denver. They had snow the other day, and it's a great place to visit, I'll tell you, winter or summer. Ponomarev in the blue with the white and red trim on his trunks and the white shoes. And the fellow with the tattoos, Steve Claggett. Claggett, very personal fella and very tough fighter, but things aren't going his way in this fight. He loads up. He's trying to sit down on his punches a whole lot more now, as he was told to in between rounds by his corner.
By the way, Kostya Ponomarev has not fought a lot here in the United States, a couple of fights, but his last one that he had in the U.S. was against the recognizable name, Cosme Rivera, who, headlines fights a lot of 10-rounders against good young up-and-comers, and he did defeat Rivera in a 10-round decision.
Yeah, Cosme better than a journeyman fighter. I mean, that was a nice win for him. I had a note on that, Rich, that probably his best win as a professional. Tough Claggett is on the inside that time. Look at the eyes, though, of Ponomarev. They're beginning to show a little bit of wear for some of these shots that are landing from the inside. And Jesse Reed yelling at Ponomarev to punch and move, because Claggett, there's no quitting this guy. He just keeps coming forward, plodding forward. Solid right hand.
Ponomarev still throwing a high quantity of punches, though. The numbers of punches he throws are pretty amazing that he can keep up this number.
Very high work rate. And here he is back as a southpaw again. Now he switches back. Now he gets squared up in between. Nice footwork by Ponomarev. Ponomarev is puffy underneath the right eye. A little bit of puffiness and abrasions by the left eye. We get a little cut by the right eye of Claggett. Neither fighter has been down. Nobody has been shaken yet with the volume of punches that Ponomarev has thrown. Claggett trying to get in position to unload something powerful. There's Ponomarev back as a southpaw. Now it almost seems like he's fighting more as a southpaw than he is an orthodox fighter, kind of splitting it.
Right back to right-handed.
Yeah.
He doesn't have big power, Ponomarev, but he's, he has stopped about half his opponents, and he does it with this large accumulation of punches.
I mean, this Claggett is not just an opponent fighter. This guy's got 20 professional victories and only a couple of losses. Ponomarev with a wide stance there, and that's the end of the 5th round. That's another Ponomarev round. He just put him in the bank. It would take a knockout now for Claggett to win this fight.
How do you feel?
Or at least a couple of knockouts.
Hey, quick punches. Quick.
So when he does that, step back. You don't have to stand in front of him when he starts working like that. Just step back a little bit. Make him miss, and then jump back on top of him. Right? Get the other one.
Blood, when you have a bloody nose like that, it's just an annoyance for the fighter in terms of trying to breathe. So that's why they're trying to get it cleaned out in between rounds.
Another round like that. Don't let him set up. Keep punching on him. Pop, 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 and move.
Really good instructions from Jesse Reed to Ponomarev in the corner. Don't let him set up. Just keep quick punching him. Punches and bunches. That's what he's doing. Jesse, I noticed in the corner they're yelling speed, as you referred to earlier, Colonel. Speed to Ponomarev. And I'll never forget, whenever I hear a trainer yelling speed, speed to his fighter, I remember Angelo Dundee yelling that to Sugar Ray Leonard all through that first fight with Tommy Hearns when they in Las Vegas, Nevada, when they fought outdoors there in that great fight of the very early in their career. All night he's yelling, speed, Ray, speed.
Well, that's what he had, and that's what he wanted him to use. Angelo, the late, great Angelo Dundee, he and his brother Chris were great friends of mine in my early boxing career down in Miami, where I called the fights for them every Tuesday night. I must have called 5,000 or 6,000 fights for the Dundee brothers during those years. And they were
Those
great.
Those were your radio days, though, right?
Yeah. They're mostly radio, but they got me into television as well. Well, we're in the 6th round here. Konstantin Ponomarev against Steve Claggett. Claggett, there's been no sign of wilting with this guy. He just keeps coming forward. He's working as hard as he possibly can, but he's taken as much as he's landing. In fact, he's taken more than what he's landing. There he is. He caught him as a southpaw again, and he landed 3 straight punches in a row. Ponomarev very wide when he throws that left hand from the outside position.
I think Claggett would have been better served had he devoted more of his attack to the body, maybe to try to take some of those legs away from Ponomarev.
That was what he said, Rich, when we talked to him. Remember him saying that, I want to work this guy's body because I love my hook. But he hasn't been able to really get in. He's having a good round, by the way, right now. And he's having a real good round. He could win this round if he continues to fight the way he's fighting.
The punches are still landing to the head, however, which is not a bad thing, but I'm just saying, obviously it's better, I think, for wearing down a fighter if you can devote some of that time to the body, and Claggett really hasn't done it.
Yeah, Claggett has landed more shots in this round than probably any other round in telling blows, because he's got Ponomarev with his heels down on the canvas right now, and this is by far Cleggett's best round. Konstantin missing more shots, even though he's back right-handed now. But I think there's a fatigue factor. Remember, Rich, a couple of rounds ago, you said, can he continue, this fast, furious pace that he set? He's still throwing a lot of punches, but if you notice, his legs are very wide. And when your legs are that wide, you don't have the same power with your jab.
Yeah, so we'll want to see here if he can retain the snap in his punches or if he starts pushing his punches.
Well, he went back to southpaw. He missed 3 punches in a row. Now he's back orthodox. And Cleggett's having his best round of the fight with about 10 seconds to go in this round.
Don't push his head down. Don't push his head down.
The thing is, if Claggett has the energy, he needs to push it right now.
Oh, he really does. Well, that to me is a Claggett round. Now the judges see it, but that's the way I see it. Are you going along with me on that, Rich?
Yes, I thought he won that round, yes.
I know you disagree with me a lot, but I like to know what
most
you do.
Most of the time, yes.
And by the way, folks, that's in and out of calling fights.
All right, Claggett putting the pressure on. They're kind of grazed his face, but just keeps coming forward and lands basically what is a right hook, because he threw it in a hooking fashion out of a squared up stance.
Did you notice when he landed this solid right hand that Ponomarev was in the southpaw stance? I don't know if he's training as a southpaw or switching back and forth. I don't know, but it's not as effective as when he fights as a right-handed fighter. I'll tell you that.
Seconds out. Seconds out here.
Curtis Thrasher says, "Hey, seconds out, doing a nice job refereeing this fight." Konstantin Ponomarev in the trunks with the blue and on his red, with the silver down the sides, and the solid red trunks with the white trim is Steve Claggett from Alberta, Canada. Actually, he's from Calgary, main city up there. And right now, Claggett needs to do what he did in the 6th round, only he's got to try to drop this guy to get back into the fight scoring-wise. Now, Ponomarev back fighting as an orthodox fighter. Nice right hand, right back with the left jab is Claggett.
Well, Ponomarev, unlike some of these other Russians and Ukrainians that we're seeing that come up the line, he got clipped a good right hand there.
He got a nice right hand. You're right, Rich.
He's going to have to do it with boxing ability and numbers of punches. He's not like Golovkin or Kovalev or even the fighter that we saw here earlier tonight.
Well, he controlled the early going here with what I would call a very tough journeyman fighter in Claggett. This guy's a good, tough fighter. But he doesn't have the one-punch power that some of the men that you mentioned, Ponomarev, but he's a good boxer. And remember, he's only 22 years of age, and he's already had 26 professional fights, so got a long time to work with the father and son combination of the Reeds.
And I do think, Ponomarev is still moving, but I do think he's tiring a little. I think when Claggett sees this tape, he's going to say, well, why didn't I do more work to the body? Even at this late stage of the fight, I think if he did some body work, it would be effective for him.
But, even though Claggett hasn't been as effective as Ponomarev, he's worked hard. He's thrown a lot of punches himself, but his Claggett for everything he did in the last round. He's kind of letting Ponomarev off the hook here as Ponomarev is scoring nicely in this round.
I think Claggett is beginning to feel the punches, getting a little crimson in the face now, and he took a backward step there to try to gather himself, I thought,
Yeah, and he's got that bloody nose too, Rich, and that's probably hampering his breathing at this stage. Claggett giving his version of the speed bag, but very ineffectively. And Jesse just wants Ponomarev to do this. Just keep throwing a lot of punches, a ton of punches. These aren't particularly effective punches, but while he's doing it, Claggett can't get at him.
I'll tell you, Ponomarev, you remember those Popeye cartoons when they used to do Bluto?
That's right, that's right.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah. I'll tell you one thing, this Steve Claggett is a tough kid. Nice job by both guys battling to the bell in the 7th round. That's a tough round to score, but I'm just leaning on the accumulation of punches and the amount of punches thrown. I'm leaning to Ponomarev from that.
Yeah,
even though Claggett had some effective punches during the course of that round.
Listen, your jab is killing us. Keep working your jab and then put your combinations together.
Hey, let's get this fucker, man.
Good jabbing, but there was that one right hand that Claggett leapt in with. From long distance, you know, he hasn't landed that many shots from long distance. But here's the amazing thing, what Ponomarev is doing. He's amazing me by continuing to throw these numbers of punches, Colonel.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you know, we question he might have had a flat round in the 6th round, and it was only a flat round. It wasn't a bad round, just a little flat from his other rounds. But he came right back in 7 and threw a ton of punches again. And for the 2 or 3 nice shots that Claggett landed during the course of the round, it wasn't enough. Let's see how they close out, these two professional fighters. Youngster Ponomarev at 22, a little bit more experience. Steve Claggett at 25. A nice, hard, tough fight to watch.
And Ponomarev, I think, did a smart thing by coming out and taking control of the round quickly with a large volume of punches right at the start to not let Claggett get off the mark here in this last round.
Well, Cлагgett's corner's got to have told him the only way you can win this is knocking this guy out now. So you got to sit down in your punches and blast this guy. It's your only hope. Claggett to the right of your screen with the tats and the red and white trunks.
Stop, don't punch. Push his head down. Here we go, let's go.
Ref Curtis Brasher, one of the good ones. He looks a little arm weary now, doesn't Claggett?
Yes,
a little bit, because he's worked hard too.
I think the accumulation of punches is taking its toll on him now.
Both faces show that they've been in a fight. Cut over the right eye, nice solid left hook on the inside. Look at this kid Claggett. There's just no quit in him. Half the round gone by. And he keeps trying to put pressure on Ponomarev, but Ponomarev just won't let him off the hook. He won't stop pressuring him himself. You know, it's funny. It was Jesse Reed who was yelling from the corner, body and head, and it was Claggett that did exactly that.
Yeah.
He whacked the body of Ponomarev.
And he finally dug that left hook to the body real good.
Hit him, Steve, hit him.
Ponomarev has really got a wide variety of punches in his arsenal. I mean, he throws about everything.
Uppercuts, hooks. He'll switch back and forth from southpaw, right-handed southpaw. He gets caught squared up, and he's got away with it in this fight. Those guys' faces are bruised and marred because they've been hit a lot. Claggett now trying to sit down in his punches and put some pressure on Ponomarev here with 24 seconds to go in the fight.
Yeah, he's going to drive forward here and see if he can't pull something out of the hat. It's a pretty good left hook there, too, Colonel.
Decent.
Claggett coming on.
Yeah, but he's running out of time inside of 10 seconds to go. And he's almost punched out. As I said, there's been no quitting this kid. I give a lot of credit to Claggett for hanging in there because things haven't gone his way. He finished the round strong. He may have won that round. It's academic because he's so far behind on my scorecard anyway. I'm going to give that round to Claggett, even though Ponomarev came out fast.
And he landed what may have been his best punch right at the final bell. Claggett now all of a sudden looks like he wants to fight. He's all excited over in his corner.
Now that it's all over, there's Jesse Reed there. You hear Jesse say, that's a tough kid. And he was. I scored at 78-74.
Let's take a look at that last round, and you can see Claggett driving forward, landed that left hook, finally forced his opponent, Konstantin, to give ground. Konstantin hanging on here a little bit, and Claggett, sensing that he might have something going, came forward and was driving straight forward right at the end of the round. He landed that right hand right at the final bell, and that was it. He felt good about that last round.
Well, it made for a good fight. Steve Cлагgett's certainly a very tough kid and a very nice kid. And Costa Ponomarev, I think we're going to see more of him, bruised up in the face, a little bit below that right eye of his. But other than that, he's got that baby face going for him, hasn't he?
Yeah, up in his forehead, too. Abrasions up there.
Again, I scored at 78-74. We'll see how the judges have it, of course, in favor of Ponomarev.
I think Jesse Reed in the future here will try to work a little bit with Ponomarev on his power. He's not blessed with great power, but he can do some things technique-wise, you know, driving off his back foot to try to get some power.
I heard Jesse saying that, too, during the course of the fight, to drive off that back foot. And you remember how I pointed out a couple of times how wide his stance was.
Right.
When he jabs with a wide stance, he doesn't have the real power. That's what Jess wanted him to drive off the back foot. I would also encourage him to stay as an orthodox fighter and, you know, try to sit down more in his punches. But again, I go back to the fact this kid's only 22 years of age, and he's about to pick up his 27th professional win against a tough kid. Mike Alvarado and Brandon Rios coming up in the third fight in their trilogy.
Hands okay?
All right, we have to get the official scoring of the fight, so let's go up to Lupe Contreras. Is Lupe.
Ladies and gentlemen, after completing the scheduled 8 rounds here at the First Bank Center, we consult the official scorecard to determine a winner. Judges Hoyle and Martinez turned in identical scorecards of 77-75, and Judge McAvoy scores it 78-74. All three in favor of the winner by way of unanimous decision. Konstantin Ponomarev.
So Ponomarev, the judges just about the same. One judge had it exactly the same as we had it, 78-74, giving that last round to Claggett, and also we gave Claggett round number 6. So a nice effort by Claggett, but not enough to beat Konstantin Ponomarev, who I'm sure we'll see on Top Rank Boxing some more as the Reed father and son combination of Jesse Reed Sr. and Jesse Reed Jr. work to develop Ponomarev, the 22-year-old kid who has just picked up his 27th professional fight. Not too many 22-year-olds have 27 professional wins.
I would say, in my estimation, though, he, as we said before the fight, not a finished product, still a work in progress, Colonel, but he has a good guy to continue that work as he progresses in Jesse Reed.
Well, again, he's got to work on his power because while he throws a ton of punches, he doesn't have what apparently the one-punch power that we have seen from Kovalov and Gennady Golovkin and those fellas. But, hey, everybody can't be the same sort of fighter, and I'm looking forward to seeing Ponomarev again real soon. So, you stick with us. We've got more action coming.